Lupa's signature weapon along with the full information of the stats that it provides have been officially released. So in today's video, we'll be diving a bit deeper into the pull value of this weapon by analyzing how it easily synergizes with Lupa to give you an idea of what you should expect from her gameplay, how it alters the echo formation that you're running on other fusion teammates because it's the first weapon of its kind to provide attribute damage bonus, which characters can benefit from this weapon from a free-to-play perspective, other weapon options available for Lupa, and finally my recommendation if you should pull for this weapon or not, based on several situations. If you're new here on the channel, the name is Senpai and I make videos that helps you improve and make better pull decisions in Weathered Waves, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel because it helps me out tremendously. For the stats, she's rocking a 587 base attack, which is amazing for Lupa because her role in your team building is to do a significant portion of your team's overall damage, and the high base attack explains why we have a low crit damage of 48.6%, just like the Verdant Summit. The first part of the passive buffs attack by 12%, which is nothing special, but at least it's a universal buff that any other Broadblade user can benefit from as long as they scale off attack. The second passive will increase the wielder's resonance liberation damage bonus by 24% after casting an intro skill or casting a resonance liberation, and the buff will last for 6 seconds. The intro skill method of activation is quite nice because it makes the 24% liberation damage bonus easily accessible to any other character as long as you're playing the equipped character with another character to provide intro skills. The 24% liberation damage bonus that the weapon provides can be extended further by an additional 4 seconds if the wielder does heavy attack damage after an intro skill or casting the liberation. Each successful extension gives 24% fusion damage bonus to the entire team that lasts for 30 seconds. Before we get into how this buff can significantly increase your team's overall damage and its downsides, let's break down how Lupa can easily trigger the extension to be able to buff herself and her teammate. After casting Lupa's Liberation, pressing your basic attack or your resonance skill will follow up with Full Breaker. From there, continuously spamming your basic attack will allow you to perform 3 mid-air attacks, and the third one right here is called Fire Strike, which is considered as heavy attack damage. So it is at this particular point in your rotation that Lupa will trigger the 24% liberation damage bonus extension by 4 seconds and provide 24% fusion damage bonus to the entire team. This has some positive and negative implications. The positive side is that you don't have to worry about how Lupa can maintain the liberation damage bonus buff because the time frame between casting your liberation and using mid-air attack Fire Strike should not be more than 6 seconds for the extended duration to occur. Lupa's forte skill called Dance with the Wolf Climax can also benefit from the 24% fusion damage bonus in addition to the 24% liberation damage bonus. The fusion damage bonus that the weapon provides can increase your team's overall damage quite significantly. For S0 Brant users, the only offensive stats that you're missing in terms of balancing your stats is fusion damage bonus because you have no choice but to run double energy regen as your 3 cost to make it easy to reach the 250 energy regen requirement on the Tide Breaking Courage set. So Lupa is the ideal teammate to fix that issue. This also provides a significant damage buff to Changli because she gains 40% fusion damage bonus from her passive alone, so you'll be severely overcapping on fusion damage bonus. You should have a lot of molded Crimson Echoes from Hecate by now, so this is the best time to run 44111 on Changli, where one of the 4 cores will be crit rate and the other one will be crit damage. What is happening here is that the fusion damage bonus from Lupa's passives and her weapon allows Changli to invest in crit damage by taking care of the additional fusion damage bonus that Changli needs to reach her full potential, so that you don't encounter any diminishing returns. But if you don't have enough resources, stick with what you have at the moment and roll better substats on the 44111 later in the future. I will make a dedicated video with clear time differences as evidence after Lupa's release in Phase 2 of version 2.4 to help you determine if it's worth it to get 44111 for Changli if you're running her with Lupa whilst you have Lupa's weapon. The negative side of things is the time constraint that it puts on Lupa's teammates, because depending on your skill level or how annoying some bosses can be, it'll be difficult for your teammates to maintain the 24% fusion damage bonus for as long as possible. The fusion damage bonus that lasts for 30 seconds gets triggered while Lupa is on the field, and even though heavy attack Wolf Claw, which is also considered as heavy attack damage, can be performed right after casting heavy attack Fire Strike, as you guys can see right here, it does not refresh the 30 seconds team-wide fusion damage buff duration, because it says right here that the extension can only happen once. So basically all I'm trying to say is that you'll have roughly 26 to 28 seconds depending on how fast you can press your buttons after a Lupa outro skill, or simply when she exits the field to rotate with your other two teammates, or else they can lose the fusion damage bonus buff quite easily. As I mentioned earlier, this will mostly depend on what type of boss you're facing, because bosses like Fallacy of No Return, Thundering Mephis, and Impermanence Heron like to move away from you a lot. Your choice of teammates can also have an impact on how long you can maintain this buff duration, and the notable one is Changli. But you don't have to worry, because all you need to do is to simply use her skills before you start your rotations, so that she can outro from the field much quicker by using her skill again after an intro skill to get full 40 stacks. Detailed rotations will be provided in Lupa's dedicated guide video, so be sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss it. With that out of the way, let's get into this weapon's synergy with other characters in the game from a free-to-play perspective, and the only one that I recommend is the character that everybody loves but hate to play, which is Calcharo. I'm quite certain that the weapon design was left in the hands of a developer that loves Calcharo, because it synergizes really well with their kit design. If you take a look at his Bloodshed Awaken passive, he gains 10% liberation damage bonus when he uses Mercy. Mercy can be executed by holding your basic attack button when he has 340 stacks, which he can gain from using his skill 3 times before casting his liberation. So ideally, you should use Mercy to gain the liberation damage buff before you cast his liberation to enter a special state to do damage, where all death messengers are considered as liberation damage, and since Mercy is considered as heavy attack damage, using it after an intro skill automatically causes the extended duration of the 24% liberation damage bonus to 10 seconds. The fusion damage bonus that you get by causing the extension will not benefit Calcharo himself, but the good news is that it can greatly benefit Changli if you like to play them together. But aside from Calcharo, you can slap it on any other Broadblade user due to the crit damage substat, but you'll get much higher value if you play the equipped character with any other fusion DPS or hybrid. You simply need to hold your basic attack button to do heavy attack damage with any other character after an intro skill to cause the liberation damage buff extension, which might be useless on the equipped character like Jinxie for example, but the extension triggers the fusion damage bonus for other fusion teammates on the team, so feel free to experiment. Now let's get into Lupa's weapon alternatives. The good news is that Lustrous Razor is easily accessible, which you can gain from the standard banner, and she can gain all the 3 stacks of the liberation damage bonus if you use her 2 skill cast, then cast her liberation, and then finally press your skill to use Full Breaker instead of pressing basic attack. Aside from Lustrous Razor, your free-to-play options are actually terrible, so use Verdant Summit or Ages of Harvest if you have them on your account. The only 4-star weapon that you can use is Autumn Trace, which is only available if you buy the Battle Pass, but I wouldn't recommend it over any other 5-star weapon due to how the difference in base attack can have a significant impact on your damage, so it can be used as a placeholder until you get a 5-star Broadblade. Now here are my pull recommendations. The fusion damage bonus that it provides from the third part of the passive increases the weapon's pull value only if you're pulling for Lupa, because it makes Lupa the top pick to pair with any other fusion DPS character that we'll get in the future. So if you're planning on pulling for Lupa, make this weapon your second priority, because you won't have to worry about who to pair with any other fusion DPS character, even if you don't have their best in slot sub DPS buffer, because of Lupa's additional fusion damage buff, fusion resistance shred, and the attack buff that you can gain from her passives. But if you can barely afford Lupa and the weapon, prioritize Lupa instead and get the weapon on her rerun. For those who are not pulling for Lupa, The 24% fusion damage bonus may seem like a universal buff that any fusion damage dealer can benefit from, which includes the wielder if they are of the fusion attribute and uses a broad blade, or when the wielder is paired with any fusion damage dealer like Alcharo and Changli for example. However, the fusion damage bonus that the weapon provides is a bit weak if it's not paired with the additional fusion damage bonus and the fusion resistance shred that Lupa provides. So if you're not pulling for Lupa, I highly suggest that you save your Astrites. That's all for my weapon pull value analysis for Lupa. Hope this video provided value to you, and if it did, leave a like and subscribe to the channel because it's free and you can always change your mind. Be sure to also join our community Discord if you're having any issues with the game or you just want a place to chill or hang out. Link will be in the pinned comments below. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.